the Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media as we break down and discuss Night 2 of the WWE Draft. Being joined here today by Mr. Reliable Walter Cruz. Thank you for coming through in a pinch, as the person that was supposed to be here disappeared on me.
So. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't have this nickname for nothing.
That's very fair. That's very fair. So the way we're going to do this, I don't know if you tuned in Friday when we did the SmackDown ones. We're going to go through, we're going to break down all the picks. I know that there's supplemental happening right now on the socials. If we get the opportunity to grab those picks, we'll get to those at the end. And then once we get through all the choices, we'll break down our overall thoughts. I know you said that you had some stuff you wanted to get off your chest, you wanted to vent about. So let's wait till the end before we get to all that. But number one draft pick for Raw, staying on Raw, was Imperium, Gunther, and Ludwig Kaiser. No Giovanni Vinci, as he was booted from the group last week. I'm not really surprised to see Gunther maintain on Raw. He's been such a dominant force over there. And I still see huge potential in Kaiser. I've always seen potential in Kaiser. You know, even before I grew to respect Gunther as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, there was something about Kaiser that caught my attention. You know, like I figured he would be the breakout of the group. So it's interesting to see these two still together.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm not surprised by this pick at all. Gunther is the longest Intercontinental Champion. He brought ratings to Raw. He made that title important. So plus I feel like I see where this is going based on a pick later that we're going to talk about. So I kind of understand why they did this.
Same. I kind of figured when they stayed on Raw, I kind of figured if that person got drafted, then they were going to Raw too. And yeah, we'll get there when we get there. First draft pack for SmackDown, though. A woman that we both love and admire. Now think about this for a minute. SmackDown's number one draft pick, both on Friday night and tonight, Bianca and Jade. I think that tells you everything you need to know as far as Saturday goes. These bitches are walking out of Paris with those.
Yeah. We knew this was coming. As soon as they put them both, we were like, oh, we know why they did this. We saw it as soon as they teamed them up. We saw what was going to happen. And now the writing was on the wall already. Now it's just in our faces. And I'm so happy that they both get to be number one draft picks.
Agree. Well, it looks like the person that was supposed to be here has popped into the room. So we have a 3-man panel tonight.
Hi, sorry. I had issues with getting the message for some reason. Thank you, Messenger. Appreciate it.
All right. You haven't waited too long. I mean, all we've done so far is talked about Gunther, Kaiser, and now Jade Cargill here. So very, very early. Go ahead and give your thoughts real quick about Jade, and then if you want to throw a couple of words about Kaiser and Gunther so that we can move forward here.
I thought it was the right pick. I'm glad that both Bianca and Jade ended up going to SmackDown. Especially made the most sense considering they're a tag team now, hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
And yeah, as far as Gunther and Kaiser, good for them for being number one overall tonight. That was really cool. It's really weird that every number one draft pick, I think there's only one American that, full-on white American that got drafted. So that's pretty damn cool. So Thumbs up.
Yeah. Like I said, I just found it really foreshadowing that Bianca and Jade were SmackDown's number 1 draft picks for both nights. I think that, like I told Walter before you popped in, I feel like that really foreshadows what's going to happen this weekend. For the people in the chat room, unless it is posted on WWE's social medias, because that's how they said the draft was continuing, please don't post any draft picks in here.
Yeah.
Because Safet, I just went to Twitter, refreshed their Twitter account, and there is not a word about that on there. So as far as I know, that is fake news. So going from Jade, moving to Raw, we have the contingent of Damage Control. Asuka and Kairi, the Kabuki Warriors, Io, the former champion, and Dakota Kai. I just couldn't find a good picture of the 4 of them without Io having the belt.
All right.
But
yeah,
I think this is a great boost for the Raw women's division, because if we're being honest, once the Kabuki Warriors lose the tag titles and Damage Control inevitably breaks up, I feel like all 4 of these women are strong contenders for the women's championship and Becky Lynch, as opposed to having to be forcibly stuck in a stable or a tag team. And that's what Raw needs, is some legitimate contenders. Kept trying to blend competitors and contenders for the title, because up until this point, the strongest that they had were Becky and Nia, and that was about it. And Rhea. All the big time talent was on SmackDown. So I feel like this move really helps the Raw brand when it comes to their women's division.
Yeah, I do too.
Walter?
Yeah, it does. Plus, it's a good refresher. Damage Control needs the refresher, and we know Bayley is stuck on SmackDown because she's the champion. So you separated. Now we know that the rivalry is officially over, and we can move on from there. You didn't want to keep going back to Bayley versus Damage Control. Bayley versus it's over. It's done. WrestleMania passed. She's the champion. This is a good refresher, and plus, the irony is Becky's still on Raw. She's the champ. And remember, a few years ago, Asuka won the Money in the Bank and never got to actually use it because Becky was pregnant and had to give her the title. So instead of the case, she actually got the title. So she never got to do that cash in on Becky. So who knows if she stays long enough and they build Asuka up, that'll be a good number 1 contender for that title.
Well, I have a feeling that somebody that got drafted later will be a contender, at least here early on in Becky's reign.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to her when we get there.
Yeah.
But rounding... Go ahead.
May I give my thoughts too? I just wanted to add also that I think the way they could go with this, however they do this combo, I could actually see them kind of doing a switch around where Asuka is the one contending against Becky and winning the championship. And then that way you could have Asuka as the world champion, the Sky Pirates as the tag team champions if they decide to go for those as the new contingent. Because keep in mind, they actually have like 2 tag teams with, Kairi saying there. And then you could have Dakota Kai go to NXT, maybe have an NXT women's title run, depending on how things go there after a period of time. I really do feel like this could very much be a Judgment Day reset for them, where they have all the gold and become kind of the dominant faction on Raw, where they have all the titles, all the gold type of scenario there. So
that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
So then rounding out the first round of picks, staying on SmackDown, was KO Kevin Owens. This one, I kind of go back and forth about. Part of me was hoping that KO would get drafted back to Raw so we could eventually put him and Sammy back together as a tag team. I think it would be fun to run Sammy and KO versus the Awesome Truth. But at the same time, KO is embroiled in this rivalry with the new bloodline. So having him stay put does make a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was torn about it because I did want to get to an eventual reunion with Sammy, but KO is teaming up with RKO right now and being Randy's partner in a rivalry. So it kind of goes both ways. So I'm kind of indifferent. I would have been happy either way that he got drafted, but I mean, good for KO to be part of the first round though.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
James, anything you wanted to add on this one?
I think it was a smart pick considering that there's definitely going to be a war brewing between the new bloodline and whoever they feud with. So, and KO is kind of the first casualty of that, I think. But I doubt that the issues are going to be done far after Backlash. There's going to be a lot more going from there. So I think it was a smart move.
Yeah. So at the end of the first round, the only switch we really had was Damage Control changing brands. Going into the second round, the first pick staying on Raw, the Second City Saint himself, CM Punk. I feel like Raw is where Punk is destined to be, especially with the impending move to Netflix. Figuring that once they move to Netflix, they can let him a little bit more loose. You know, we can really kind of open up the heelish persona of Punk once we get to that move and everything. And we've run our course with the Drew feud.
Yeah, it's smart to do Punk. I'm surprised he wasn't part of the first round. That's the only thing that was shocking for me. But I kind of figured he was going to stay on Raw. Plus, you want to give him eventually get him to that world heavyweight champion, and then he'll really be a Grand Slam champion again because he would have that new title. So I think that's part of it. And just having him on the 3-hour show is just a little better because he'll get more. He can be on TV without taking too much of somebody else's time. There's that third hour on Raw, and you don't want to lose ratings, so you got to put the Second City Saint on there. Yeah.
We don't even know if there's still going to be a third hour of Raw once the move to Netflix happens.
That's true.
You know, by moving to Netflix, we more than likely are going to lose commercials. And if we lose commercials, we may go down to just 2 hours because you're still putting the same amount of content in without having to buffer it out with commercials.
Yeah, at the very least, they're going to do 2 hours 15 max, I think, on Netflix. That seems like how long it would be if they moved to Netflix. I can't see why they would even stick to the 3-hour format after not even getting that advertiser revenue for it. That was the whole reason they kept the third hour, was because that ad revenue was crazy.
Yep.
You know, so
it's one of the things in our open mic night intro. Jeff points out that JB said that as long as they're making that revenue money, we're keeping that third hour.
Yep.
So the next pick for SmackDown, staying on the blue brand, is the Pride. And, you know, I think this is the first time I've actually heard them referred to as the Pride on television.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of people refer to them as that. I've even seen it, like, in writing, but I've never heard, you know, Corey Graves, Wade Barrett, anybody ever call them the Pride. I've never even heard them call themselves the Pride in a promo.
Yeah.
So that was like my big takeaway here, as minimal as that was and as silly as it may seem. It's like they actually referred to them as the Pride here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means some merch is being developed, or they finally.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they were waiting on like a pending patent or something on that name or something, and now it came through, so they got to say it on TV, and all the merch is kind of. It's just, for me, I love it all. It's just BFAP just don't fit for me. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, BFAB seems super heelish, like in this
yeah,
group.
I feel like
it,
BFAB is just the Wish version of Bianca Belair,
mhm.
but everybody wants Bianca to turn heel and join this group, and it's just not going to happen. I don't know how many times I have to say it on our broadcasts.
Yeah.
As long as she's the female John Cena doing all these make-a-wishes and giving back to kids, and little girls are coming to shows dressed like her, it
Mhm.
just ain't happening, y'all.
Yeah, that and
So
I don't.
BFAB, I feel
Yeah.
like, is a decent enough substitute. And ever since Flop Dollar got released and Hit Row pretty much fizzled out, this is a decent way to utilize her.
Yeah, that and I feel and not for nothing, I think that aren't the Pride baby faces anyway? That's why I say it's like BFAB still got that heelish trait to her, but I swore the group turned face when they were feuding with the Final Testament.
I think they're tweeners. I think it's technically they're tweeners.
Uh,
And that's why they gave the Street Profits their old theme music back.
well, at least they have their old theme music back. I'm just glad about that. But yeah, no, for me, it's just it was a good choice. I mean, honestly, I think they got a lot more mileage on SmackDown than they do on Raw. Um, even if it's for like a U.S. title run or world title run for Lashley, and then the tag team titles for the Street Profits. I mean, those matches that they're going to have with A-Town Down Under would be great. I'm really looking forward to that. A little black and gold versus your era of NXT action if that happens, JJ. But
Well, Austin Theory was black and gold as well, was he not?
he
Mhm.
was, I guess,
Grayson Waller is the only one that's really part of the 2.0 and on era, having
He-
come over from UK during that time frame.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you could call Austin Theory kind of the bridge between the two. Because he like came in at like the ass end of the black and gold era, pretty much. So
Emmanuel with the hot take thinks that our picks from Saturday night were superior to the actual TV picks.
I agree.
well, yeah, I think the
We'll
Raw
get there, Walter, but I feel like that's also a little bit of bias on our own end.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. To be fair to Raw, I think they absolutely made up for it on this show. They really did. There was a lot of shakeup, more so on this show than there was on SmackDown. I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the NXT picks. And by the way, Dijak is confirmed. He actually tweeted it.
Okay, but like I stated earlier, Dijak could just tweet that. I'm not seeing it on WWE.
That's fair.
And by this time after SmackDown, all of the other supplementals had been done. Nothing is on WWE's social media about it.
Gotcha.
That's what's making me hesitate about it.
Also, Raw has an extra hour, so they better have made up for whatever lackluster SmackDown had because they got an extra hour to do it. They should have more picks.
Yeah, true that. But yeah, I think there was a lot more. There was definitely a lot more shakeup. Like they actually drafted. We'll get to it, but they separated the Latino factions, which surprised me. So that was a huge shakeup.
That didn't surprise me, and I welcome that. I think that's going to be awesome. So let's move on here, because I think we need to get away from some of the standard feuds, like Bailey and the Damage Control thing and Bianca and Damage Control. That's run its course. Separate it.
Yeah.
Legado, LWO. There's only so much of that we can deal with. Separate it. So I'm glad they did that. So the next pick for Raw was Braun Strowman, and I don't think anybody had this on their bingo card.
No.
He's been out with injury. I don't think anybody was figuring for him to come back anytime soon, but I think the way they worked him into this and then having him appear the way they did really kind of helped, and especially with the mysterious QR codes that randomly pop up for the rumored Uncle Howdy Wyatt 6 thing they're gonna do.
I'm so fucking excited for that, dude. Oh my god.
So, and to Matthew's point, like Braun could be part of the new faction.
Yeah.
You figure his connection to the Wyatt family. You figure Eric Rowan
Yep.
had to cancel a lot of his indie dates. He may be coming back. You figure Bo is Uncle Howdy. You figure Alexa Bliss.
Yep.
All those people have got ties to the Wyatt family. And then
Yep.
it's just a matter of who do you put in for the other 6 or for the other 2 of the 6.
So
right now, Broken Matt Hardy's in TNA, so that may or may not be able to happen, depending on what rumors you believe. He's either a free agent on a per appearance basis or he's on their active roster. And then there's also the fact of Randy Orton as well lurking around. And Randy would be a little bit of a surprise, I think, but could always happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've still got Dexter Loomis, Nikki Cross, and Joe Gacy, all of whom weren't part of the draft. And especially Joe Gacy is psychotic enough that he could fit in perfectly.
He definitely fits perfect.
Yeah,
Nikki Cross, if you throw her in there, you have a women's tag team with Bliss and Cross.
Yeah, reunite them too, because they were tag team champions before as well.
The only problem I foresee is that I think Alexa Bliss is too of an alpha to allow Nikki Cross into the stable.
I mean, and this is just my mind running, but I could see them bringing in Dexter, Joe. I could see Nikki come in with Alexa leading the team of Nikki, and maybe you could put Liv Morgan in there. I don't know why they haven't
teamed no.
It makes sense, though.
Please, God, no.
No.
Like, I could see Liv and Alexa as a team, but not within the confines of this group. Please,
Maybe,
God, no.
But there's also one name we haven't considered. The possibility of, because you want a good tag team partner to kind of work with Eric Rowan if you're going to bring him in. Madman Fulton's on the free agent market.
Who?
Madman Fulton was the guy who teamed in Impact with Ace Austin for a period of time. He also teamed with Sami Callihan towards the end, and then he ended up heading out. He's no longer with Impact. He was with TNA for a bit, but he's
unaware. That must have been during my hiatus and when I wasn't really following TNA Impact. So
yes, but for the people in the chat room, they may know who I'm referring to, but very Wyatt family-esque. If you look at him, like very, very much fits the mold of a Wyatt type of family. So
I know one thing: Braun looked good, man. He looks good.
Did. Yeah, he did. Looking lean.
All right. Moving on, the final pick of that round, staying on SmackDown, it is going to continue to be Tiffy time on the blue brand.
Yes, Tiffy time.
This one kind of surprised me, and I'm going to tell you why. The main reason it surprised me is because we still in this Triple H era kept the couples together. Bianca and Tez are still on SmackDown. Seth and Becky are still on Raw. Tiffany and Kaiser are still separated. Something told me Tiffany would end up moving to Raw so that she could stay with Kaiser, but for whatever reason, they're keeping them separated still. I'm not really sure why, because I don't see her beating Bayley at Backlash. It's still too early in Bayley's reign, but we'll get to that in predictions in a few days. But I don't know. Like I thought Tiffy would move. I thought Imperium would move to SmackDown to give them some fresh scenery and have Gunther go after Logan Paul, turning him face in the process, and then going on a monster run with the U.S. title.
Mm-hmm.
And then he could even rename it the European title and kind of resurrect that.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
No, it's not. Then again, I feel like there's a reason. I feel like there are a couple that, they're gonna be home a lot often. They don't have kids, whereas Becky Rollins do. I don't think Montez and Bianca do, but they
They
obviously
don't
want.
have kids together, but Tez
Yeah.
is a father and Bianca's stepmom to them.
Yeah,
So
so she's a mom by proxy. Yeah, so there's that dynamic. I think he's keeping the couples that have kids together. Um,
that's
Tiffy and
possible.
Tiffany and Kaiser don't really have that problem, so they're just kind of enjoying life, and they're like, hey, divide and conquer. Ask him to put you on Raw. I'll be on SmackDown. We can tear it up.
I think it's also everyone else is more out there. Like Bianca Tez has their own show. Like they make it a point to let you know they're a couple. They don't really make it a point
Right.
to let you know these two are a couple.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. I do hope Tiffy gets a championship here by the end of the year. I still say that she's a solid lock for Queen of the Rain, though.
Yeah,
The
I can see
center
it.
of the universe is the
Yep.
Queen of the Rain.
I'm telling
Like
Yeah,
you,
she's just gonna be insufferable.
she's either going to be the Queen of the Ring or the Money in the Bank winner. One of those two is going to Tiffany.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And it just occurred to me that Chelsea and Piper are on SmackDown too.
We'll
Oh,
get there.
no.
We'll get
Oh,
there. But
no.
yes. All right. Kicking off round 3. The LWO in full was drafted to Raw, including Carlito, who just turned heel on SmackDown. So I found this interesting that Carlito in the LWO still got drafted to Raw, but we couldn't draft Vinci as part of Imperium.
Yeah, that's.
But to be fair, Carlito wasn't kicked out like Vinci was, and we still haven't gotten the full reason as to why he did what he did. So maybe that's their logic as to why.
Yeah.
I assume that is because you're right. That doesn't make any sense. I'm just glad they separated the. Well, we'll get to it in a few, but yeah, I'm glad this is a move because it freshens it up. Plus, you put Ray back on the. Well, that's giving away a pick, so let me not say that. But
Well,
you
I'm
know where
pretty
I was
sure
going.
everybody
Yeah,
watched, but yeah, it puts Ray back on the show
yeah,
with Dom so they
yeah,
can have
yeah,
that interaction.
exactly.
And I have a feeling that's going to be where they go next. Is we're going to have like the LWO versus the Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we'll get more into that when we get to the Judgment Day. James, anything you want to add on this one?
I'm not surprised by it because I feel like this was going to be inevitable. I'm just surprised Carlito was drafted with them. Maybe there's a thing that they're trying to. They're gonna obviously tell the story on Raw, and they feel like they need to get away from LDF to do that. What is weird to me, and the question I have about this whole thing is, you put the person that was associated with the LWO on SmackDown with Andrade and drafted the rest of the LWO on the Raw. I swear we were going to get a Carlito Andrade feud.
Or at least get Andrade and Zelina back paired together, because I thought we were going to get Andrade put into Carlito's spot of the LWO.
Right.
And then that way you've got Andrade and Zelina back together.
Yeah, it's just a very odd thing that they decided to do. I'm not exactly against it. It's just, are you going to book, the smart thing? Like, because keep in mind, and I don't know if they're going to do it like this, but does this change if there's a possible trade existing? Does Carlito align with Legado, or does Andrade align with Legado? And do we get a LDF versus LWO blow off at Backlash, and then Carlito costs the LWO, and then they kind of move into a feud rivalry with that, and then they kind of go with that? Or do they trade Carlito over to SmackDown because he doesn't want to be associated with the LWO and join LFI as well? I don't even know. They threw this whole storyline for a fucking loop.
They can't do a story where Carlito's like, hey, or Ray or somebody says, hey, he's not part of us, so he can be a free agent and you guys can pick where he wants to go. And then they take him, but Carlito's strong enough. Just because he's Latino doesn't mean he has to be part of one of these groups. Nor Andrade, they can be individuals, and Carlito can go back to his heel persona and just bring back his old music, please, for the love of God.
Agreed. I know it's still kind of early in the year, but what do we think about possibly War Games? LWO versus Legado del Fantasma.
Could happen.
Ray, Dragon Lee, Cruz, Joaquin, and maybe add Andrade versus Santos, Humberto, Angel, Carlito, and you can add Dom.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, I could see it. The issue that I see with that is they seem to be, and just from the presentation that they kind of presented, really does look like they're actually going to try to take the brand split super seriously. So I don't even know if you're going to get the one night a year or Raw and SmackDown Superstar is bullshit. I don't even know if we're going to get that anymore. They may go with full-on War Games and not have interbrand splicing.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, I feel like they're definitely going to save it at Mania because that's typically where they have those interbrand matches happen. That was the case for this Mania. It was the case for last year's Mania even though the brand split was screwed up all to hell. So I feel like that's where they're going to really do it. I don't think they're going to do it for Survivor Series. So that's why I foresee an issue with that. If anything, I see there's going to be a 6-man more likely at the next few pay-per-views, probably between the LWO and possibly Carlito bringing in Primo and Epico. I see that being more of a possibility than LFI, Legado del Fantasma and LWO going at it anymore.
I'm laughing that you actually said brand split. I give it a month before somebody's on the other show already going back and forth.
Well, yeah, but that's keep in mind though that was under the old management. We're under like legitimately new management now, so
we'll see.
Could happen.
I just laugh that you keep slipping up and calling them LFI.
I do.
LDF.
They are.
You'd watch LFI. Too much freaking AEW.
They are. They're just they're all. It all blends together. I apologize. There's so many
LWO, LFI, LDF.
Yeah, LWO,
AFI.
AFI, freaking LWO, LFO, whatever.
UFO.
UFO. So many damn acronyms.
Then you had the music with the CFO.
Yeah, with the dollar sign.
Damn it. All right, so moving on. We then had, of course, SmackDown keeping the Legado del Fantasma.
Yep.
Again, glad that they separated them, as we did discuss there with the LWO, so we won't waste a whole lot of time here. I just really feel bad for Angel and Humberto from SmackDown last week, because when you saw Ray and Dragon Lee in there fighting them, it was like you knew they were jobbing. If it had been Cruz and Joaquin, they would have had a chance. They might have won. But you got Ray and Dragon Lee in there, it's like, nope, sorry. Thanks for coming. Collect your paycheck and go grab a plate in the back.
Right? It's true. It's true. Their catering was still warm.
For real, though. Like I said, I feel bad for him because I like these two, Angel and Humberto. You know, getting to see them when they came back down to NXT as Los Lotharios, and then their metamorphosis, kind of ditching that gimmick and molding into this. Like, I really like these guys.
I like them too, and they can actually speak, and they speak English well. It's not like all of these in these groups speak actual good English. It's not like it's broken or bad. Yep. So it's like they still good characters.
I'll tell you right now, and I say this with every fiber of my being because I saw this man work. I saw this man cut promos. I saw how over he was. Angel is going to go back to Angel Garza, and he's the breakout star of this group. I'm telling you, he's the next Eddie Guerrero of this era of SmackDown. I'm telling you, he's so damn good. And what's crazy is he has not even been able to show a fifth of what he's capable of yet.
And Angel's the one with the short hair, or the one with the ponytail and mustache?
He is the one. He is the one with the ponytail and the mustache.
Okay.
Yeah, he has got so much upside. It's absurd. He's the best talker out of the three. I'm telling you.
It's sad because I can't tell which one is which until they're in the ring, because one always wears the long pants and the other one wears the short trunks.
Yes.
It's like that's when I can tell them apart, when they're half freaking naked in the ring.
Yeah. I'm just glad they got away from that whole lover boy like gimmick. Like they were like the Latin lovers type.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Los Losarios.
Yeah. I will say, I really did. The reason they did it is because in Black and Gold NXT, Angel was so goddamn good with it. And so they thought, oh, well, let's replicate that success and have Humberto do it. And they did the Los Losarios gimmick and tried to make it the new Los Guerreros, and it was not hitting the same because it was so forced by Vince, and you can tell.
I mean,
and then here came Pretty Diddley, and they were just like so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's and plus it's a one-man gimmick anyway, and it only works for Angel Garza. It doesn't work for anybody else. So, yeah, I don't know. That was a whole heebie-jeebies, end of Vince era.
Right. All right, and then also staying on Raw, the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
Very upset at how late in the show he got drafted.
He was big angry.
Yeah, he was.
I love that they made that a story and that Punk was actually there and they did this. That was great.
Right, and he went on the search for Punk in the suite, gets up there, finds the autographed 8x10, and Punk's coming out to the ring.
Punk got him with the Johnny Cage friendship.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. The end of DM Punk.
I'm not surprised Drew stayed on Raw, because you need to keep some big time main eventers there. I like Jey Uso, but he's not going to cut it. You need Drew to be on the same brand that Punk is on so they can run that feud. You need Punk on the same show Seth's on so they can run that feud. And you need some big time main eventers to make Damian Priest look legit. And of course, we all know we're probably going to build towards Drew versus Priest at Clash at the Castle, with Drew finally getting his moment in front of his home country and his family and everything. So him staying on Raw was kind of a given, I think.
Yeah, it was inevitable.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I feel like Drew is the perfect guy. And I mean, he just got offered a brand spanking new contract from The Rock, which, by the way, that tells me a lot because it was The Rock who issued the contract, which leads me to believe he may have just picked up the shares that Nick Khan and Vince McMahon left in the wake. And if that's the case, that's big. So he made a pretty bold statement by mailing the contract to Drew like he did. And Drew signing it.
My only issue with the fact that we know he resigned is the fact that he had thrown out there the fact that his contract was supposed to end right at around the time of Clash in the Castle. And dude, we could have totally ran like a Punk moment where we didn't know he resigned, have him win the title at Clash at the Castle. Oh shit, what are we going to do? Like, we could have completely ran that back from 2011. But they let the world know he resigned, and it's like, you were right there, because once Drew gets the title, we're going to run Drew versus Punk probably at SummerSlam.
Oh man, Drew blowing the kiss in the crowd in Scotland. Imagine.
Yes, defeating Priest, winning the title, blowing the kiss, going to his family's house, putting the title in the refrigerator, totally throwing all the beats that Punk did. Then
Hey,
go to San Diego Comic-Con, just like Punk did, like totally ham it up.
keep in mind, we don't know how long he signed the contract for. That was never specified. So it could be 2 Clash at the Castle.
I'm pretty sure they said that it was a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing is like, I think when they let it out that he re-signed, they let it out that he signed for multi-years.
Yeah. And it's only and it seems like he got knighted in that video, so he could be Sir Drew McIntyre. Imagine him winning the King of the Ring and he's Sir Drew McIntyre at the same time.
I feel like that would be a step down from at this point.
Yeah.
King of the Ring needs to be that stepping stone, not
Yeah.
a step down. He's already a multi-time world champion.
Yeah, you gotta use it to launch like Stone Cold when he won it. Yeah.
Triple H.
Yep.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, like it's got to be a new up and coming star. Like that's how they usually get it over. And you can have your veterans too and just place there, but they should be towards the semifinals or the finals where there's like that huge upset by the babyface. Like that's how they should do about it. Like that was the biggest problem I remember in the Vince era. Is like you would bring back King of the Ring and you would think he would put the young guy over, and then he would give it to Sheamus, who was already established, or Wade Barrett, who was already established.
Or Regal, who was already established.
Yeah.
But I wasn't bitching about when Regal did it.
No.
Regal beat Punk in the finals, and I thought, yes,
well,
this is going to be Regal's final ascension to the main event. And then he got busted for the wellness policy, and there it went.
Yeah, he would have had the title. Yeah, you might as well throw a couple NXT people in this tournament so we can really be like, oh, yeah, somebody's going to.
What it needs to be is it needs to be Raw and SmackDown on each side and have that be an interpromotional match for the finals.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
And the same thing for Queen. Have the Raw bracket, the SmackDown bracket, and then you get Raw versus SmackDown to see who wins.
Yeah, true.
And that's how you work an interpromotional angle. And then like the Go Home Raw and SmackDown, you can have them pop up on each other's shows to kind of cut promos and get that face-to-face heat rolling through.
Yeah.
Then you can do brand split LOL and actually have it make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
And the last person from this round going from Raw to SmackDown, the Kina Strong style Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm liking this move for Shin. I would love to see Shin versus Santos.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that would be a good one. I feel, and this is my thing, he needs to have like a bit of his own faction because that's how I feel like he's going to have a bit of steam going for him. Otherwise, he's just going to be another guy on the roster. That's what I fear, even on SmackDown.
And
unfortunately, they just moved Damage Control to Raw. So you can't have him with the Japanese women.
No.
Yeah. I honestly, this is a refresher. He needed this move. But I honestly would have loved Nakamura to come back to NXT and have that. Like, I feel like that would have been really fresh with this generation of NXT.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's ultimately where he's going to end up for most of his time on SmackDown. He's going to go to NXT, and I mean, he's going to have a banger feud with Trick. I mean, I can only imagine the matches they're going to have together. Like, he's definitely going to be a good seasonal test for Trick, but that's what else do you have him do? Like, that's the thing. Like, they have the problem with Shinsuke. As much as I love him, and part of this is on his own, is kind of his own fault because he just wants to serve. He don't really give a fuck. But he is damaged goods now. That's really what he is, and I hate to say that because I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I have since before he showed up in NXT. I saw what a freaking talent he was there. He was the one who unified the IWGP V3 championship with the Intercontinental Championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling against Kurt fucking Angle. So, I mean, the dude is a hell of a talent, and they've just completely squandered him. So much so that I don't know what you do other than make a faction around him to rebuild himself to get to that main event level. And until you do that, I think he's fucked.
Yeah.
The most you're going to do with him is put him in NXT, have a feud with Trick, and then what? And that's what's a shame about it. It's like this guy right now, if he was able to stay in America, he would be so good for the New Japan America brand right now, and he'd be great. He'd be a great addition to the AEW roster. Right now, he is not doing dick on WWE. And that's where I say it's like, I don't even think he's going to be around much longer here. I think he's going to have one big run outside of the WWE as opposed to in the WWE. He's going to put over Trek and on the way out more than likely, and he's probably going to want to either release or he's going to be gone sooner rather than later, I think. But good move, at least. Nice addition to SmackDown.
Fresh, yeah, it brings fresh rivalry, a reset. And so it's good. He needed to change.
Yeah. It's like let me see him in some main event feuds against KO and Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I agree, but I don't think they're even going to put him in the main event. And if he is in the main event, he's definitely not going to go towards the main event title. You know,
you think they'll throw him in there against like Logan Paul?
That's a
Logan Paul versus
possibility. Yeah,
Shinsuke Nakamura,
that's
or LA Knight versus Nakamura.
Yeah, that I could see.
Because a feud with LA Knight winning, that would be huge for LA Knight.
I mean, especially if you can't get him the title right away, you could have him win the U.S. title off Logan and then maybe do a triple threat feud between the three. Yeah, I could see that. I could see them doing that. Does WWE do that is the question.
Yeah, because I feel like Nakamura, the closest he's getting to the main event scene is he's probably going to be one of the people in the Money in the Bank. We know he ain't winning, but he'll probably be one of the participants.
Yeah. True that.
That's fair enough. All right, give me 1 second here. So the next draft pick, kicking off the next round, and I apologize for the horrid quality of this picture, but it's the only one I could find with just the three of them. The Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. I thought it was interesting that Rhea wasn't part of the draft, that she was not drafted with her boys.
Sure wasn't.
I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
But maybe with them not really knowing how long she's going to be out with her injury, they didn't want her to get drafted and then 6 months, 9 months of nothing.
What's with Raw becoming the show where factions fucking don't like each other or get along? Like what's going on Raw now? Like, the LWO, you got the Judgment Day, you got I swear there's like another faction I'm forgetting on, but there's another faction that's not getting along. Why is it the show where factions aren't getting along?
It's a good question.
Yeah, damn.
I mean, there's always been some dissension within the Judgment Day going back to Priest and Balor before JD McDonough even joined the group. You know, and now it seems like it's getting riled back up, and you know, we're a lot closer to Priest turning face and all that stuff.
I think the timing makes sense though, because it seems like the way they established it was that Rhea was the glue that held them together. Now the glue is gone and they're tearing her apart again. So
That's
you
fair.
can make that as part of the story.
Yeah, probably.
And I also think it's interesting that Dominic is able to work through his injury in his arm in a sling, but Rhea can't.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think they're trying to keep the out of sight, out of mind as far as Rhea goes, so that when she comes back, she gets that huge baby face pop, and they can have her be face like they kind of want to at this point.
Yeah.
And by then, Judgment Day probably will have dissolved. And then it's just a matter of, does she stay with Dom?
Mm-hmm.
Or does she go out on her own? And if this angle they're kind of teasing with Dom and Liv potentially being a thing comes to fruition, that's all we're going to need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like Eddie's son more and more, because Eddie cheated on China Bobby, and now it seems
No.
like they're rehashing it with Dom.
Yeah.
Messing up on Rhea.
No. Don't you dare do this.
Dude, he's looking more and more like Eddie with every day with that fucking mullet and his mustache.
Yeah.
The Dirty Sanchez, as Ray called it.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Buried
Just
his own
more
son on
and
live
more.
TV, bro. What the hell?
And shout out to the makeup department with that JD McDonough thing, like getting hit by the Super Bowl. That's awesome.
Hey, do we even know if it was makeup or did he legit say "clock me in the head"? with
Who
the damn
knows?
rings? I'm just saying, could have been possible.
I don't know, but you know.
Hey, by the way, real quick, and I know we typically don't do this, but I think it's justified. That's how you include the NFL draft into your programming, Tony Khan. Okay, thanks.
Right?
Mm-hmm. By the way, I was gonna say, why you kept using the same people you used on SmackDown? You had Mahomes there. He could have picked some draft picks in Kansas City and got a pot. Like, I'm surprised they kind of rehashed the same people they used on SmackDown.
They didn't have
I guess
For
it
real,
saves
like
money.
that would have been so good having
Yeah.
Mahomes up there on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he turn heel and yet he's a face of Kansas and
I know.
aligned with Logan? What the fuck are we doing?
I said that on Air Street. I'm like, yo, he's the face of the NFL. Why'd you have him do heel stuff with Logan?
The only thing that I can attribute it to is probably because KSI and Logan signed him to Prime like a while back, and the Kansas City Chiefs to Prime. So that's
Maybe.
probably why. But
Part of the
still,
brand.
yeah, like, what are we doing here?
All right, moving on, staying on SmackDown, allowing the big three to remain together as a unit, Naomi, but notice how far down Naomi was picked over Bianca and Jade. Could that lead to some resentment later on down the road? I think that would be a great catalyst for a Naomi heel turn to potentially link her up with her husband and the bloodline and everything.
The only issue is, who is her husband, Jay or Jimmy?
Jimmy.
Yeah, so that I don't think that would work. She
Why?
would still be face.
Depends. I mean,
Depends on which.
there's already going to be a bloodline civil war here.
Right.
You know, with Solo and Tama and possibly Jacob and Zilla Fatu. And then if you've got Rock and Roman and the Usos, and then you throw Naomi with her husband and Nia Jax on the other side.
That's what I said. Nia Jax on one side and her on the other. That's how you get Naomi back in the. We finally get the bloodline we've been begging for the better part of 3 years.
Yeah, the only thing is, I feel like the Usos would be on the other end of the spectrum, on the face, obviously, and that's where the issue comes in. I feel like she would be with her boys more often than not. So there is that issue there. I feel like if anything, I mean, again, however long Ava stays in NXT, you can bring her up and then team her up with Tamina. That's the only way. I mean,
I think Tamina's done, though. I think she quietly retired.
Yeah, that's true. Not eligible for drafting, but shit could change. We don't know.
Yeah, Tamina quietly retired there. And Ava in the ring is greener than the world thinks that Jade Cargill is. She's about as green as Naomi's outfit there. Just let her fucking stay in NXT as the GM. That is working for her.
It sure is working.
She's finally getting a little bit better on the microphone. Her personality is starting to shine a little bit more. Just leave her there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Take it from a guy that tunes in every Tuesday.
No, I believe you. Trust me, I believe you. I thought she was green in the schism, to be honest, in the fucking overalls she wore. You can find that clip on my channel and then watch a while, and I linked in the comments, by the way. That was the last NXT special I ever did, and I've never been invited to do one since because they're afraid I'll laugh at something as hard as I did for that.
Well, you're welcome to be part of Spring Breaking Night 2 tomorrow. Looks like it'll be a good show.
It does look like it will be a good show, but I am unfortunately very, very much tied to the documentary and editing that. Obviously, I'll stream it for you boys, but while I'm streaming it, I'll be doing that. So I'll be watching it silently, probably in the background and shit.
Gotcha. All right. So coming to Raw from NXT, our first call-up from the evening. The Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov.
This is a huge thing here because so I don't know what's going on in the supplemental draft right now. However,
as far as I know, nothing, because I am still refreshing Twitter and I am seeing Jack Diddley shit.
Wow, they're really bad on this draw, huh? Maybe it's on WWE.com.
I have that tab up also.
I was gonna say I'm on WWE.com, yeah.
So nothing on either one, huh? Damn. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm not really sure. Well, either way, good for Ilya Dragunov. Dude, the dude deserves it. I mean, this guy has been the workhorse of NXT for so long, and he's finally getting his just due. I mean, the emotion on all three UK people that got drafted tonight, it was etched all over their face, especially for Dragunov. He's been working his ass off for years in NXT. This is a guy who also, very similar to Austin Theory, came in at the tail end of the black and gold era pretty much and has just damn near dominated everywhere he's gone in NXT. He won the NXT UK championship from Gunther, and another historic title ran by Gunther. And then he won the NXT championship from Carmelo Hayes. I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy. I'd be very shocked if he is not one of the brighter stars on Raw in the future. I really think he's got that much upside. So,
yeah, I completely agree when it comes to Ilya. Like, dude is a stud. Okay, one more time to the people in the chat room. I don't give a flying fuck if Dijak tweeted it. Until WWE posts it, it don't mean Jack Diddley shit.
yeah.
Emmanuel, I keep refreshing WWE's X account. There is nothing. The last post on WWE's X account, as far as anything goes, is exclusive. Blair Davenport has Big Blue brand plans for Friday nights on SmackDown 52 minutes ago. That ain't anything. So, until they post it, ain't nothing happened. Like I was saying about Dragunov, dude is a stud. I remember when he first came over from UK when that folded, I actually despised Ilya because he started feuding with JD McDonough, and I was already a fan of McDonough at that point. And I was like, dude, screw this guy. Like, who are you coming over here and fucking with my boy JD? And then JD got moved, and I could really begin to appreciate Ilya more. And like, both with Ilya and with the women that got drafted that we'll get into when we get to them, I can only imagine how Shawn Michaels feels.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm sitting here watching it through the Discord, getting emotional that these kids that I've invested in watching through the developmental are getting called up and going to get their shot to shine on the red and blue brands. Hopefully it won't go to shit like they did with Cameron Grimes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm I'm invested in these kids and getting to see them get called up. You start getting emotional. It's like, dude, Ilya's going to get his chance to shine.
Yep.
Kiana is going to get her chance to shine. Mello is going to get his chance to shine. I'm not going to mention the others in case people didn't tune in and see it. We'll get to them when we get there. But it's like these guys and gals that I've invested time and energy now, it's like I feel, like I said, I can only imagine what Shawn Michaels feels. It's like your kids are grown up and going away to college.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like they graduated high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Ilya was the one we all saw coming though, and I think they did it this way that Imperium stayed on Raw because I think that's where we all know that this is heading. Ilya and maybe Giovanni comes back and talks to Ilya and says, "Can you help me get my revenge on Imperium?" And there it is.
Exactly. I said, I see it going one of two ways. Either Vinci be like, look, I know we've got some bad blood in the past from when he was a part of Imperium, be like, hey, but I know as much as you may not like me, you like Gunther even less. Can we join forces to take out a common enemy? Or he leads Vinci to believe that he's got his back, and then Russo Swerve Bro
joins Imperium.
We have him join Imperium and take that third spot, because I could see Ilya and Kaiser as a fucking banner team, dude.
The issue that I have with all of that though is like, why kick Giovanni out of the group if you could have a great mid-card champion in Ilya and kind of carry on the legacy of the IC title? That's what's so weird. Well, I mean, that's the problem though. He was like the longest reigning champion for the UK division after Gunther held it. So that's why I'm so confused about it. And he had banger matches too when he held that belt. So I don't understand why they would think that. He's more than capable of filling those shoes with Gunther. I think you also have that thing with, Gable and Sammy going on. But, the way I look at it is just like you get your tag team in Vinci and Kaiser, and then you have Ilya go for the IC title, and Gunther is long overdue for a main event run. He is so damn good. So
he is, but at the same time, the main event picture on Raw right now is so locked that I don't think you do anything with him except give him Money in the Bank. Because look at it like this, okay? We figure we've got Priest as champion right now. Clash at the Castle's on the horizon. Drew's probably going to take it from him there. So then you get Drew, and who's going to take the belt from Drew? Probably Punk at SummerSlam.
Right.
Okay. Then where do you go from that? The next logical thing would be Punk and Rollins, bringing it back full circle. But unless you have like a rematch between Punk and Drew at the Bash in Berlin and let Gunther cash in the briefcase there because Seth screws Punk over, then you get you get Seth and Drew both heel, and you get Gunther cashing in the title, taking the belt. Then you can have Punk run shit back with both Drew and Seth.
Yep.
Going forward into Rumble and Mania. You got to figure like where you're going to realistically lock Gunther in, and I almost feel like Gunther deserves a bigger stage than Bash in Berlin. Especially since he's not German. Kaiser is.
Right.
And that's why I feel like it's good if he does win Money in the Bank, because you're not locked to one show. They can create plans and be like, all right, maybe you go after the SmackDown. Like you can creatively be a little more patient with the Money in the Bank winner, because you could decide later maybe we need him to cash on the SmackDown title and we got a better story there. Like, so it makes sense if he can win the Money in the Bank, because then you bought yourself some time.
Yeah, true.
But getting back to Ilya, I don't want him to join Gunther because I want to see them go 1-on-1 again. I
Yeah,
gotta see them run that back.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah, yeah, that will be a hell of a match up there.
I know Noah would be so excited for that.
I just remember I've seen Vinci and Kaiser like together like since the golden era, like the golden era of NXT. So I saw them live, so I was very sad when they broke up. They've been together for so long that I thought they'd always stay together. Because I'm thinking they tried to break them up before and it didn't work, and now they had to put them back together, and it's like now they're breaking them up again. It's like, why? It didn't work the first time. Don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Elliot looked legit so happy to be drafted too, man. The face of all the NXT people today is just like you said. It's like they graduated high school, went to college, and just like you're the proud papa. I get exactly what you mean, JJ.
And like I said, like I know it sounds weird. Like there's fans out there that may hear me say that, and they're like, "You didn't have anything to do with those kids." And like I get that, but at the same time, it's like I said, when you get invested in somebody, you know, you feel like you're a part of them. The best thing I can compare it to is like if you discover an indie artist, you know, playing at a coffee shop or something, or opening up for a band that you went to go see live, and then like they get a big single and they drop their album and they go to number one, and it's like you feel like you were part of their journey because you saw them before they were. Or an indie wrestler, you think about the way that Jeff and I are connected to guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Bryan Danielson, you know, Bad Dude Tito, you know, Frankie. It was like, because we saw these guys when they were on the independents, when they were gritting their teeth, and now they're some of the biggest names in the business.
Right. True that.
It's true. And just one small reason I like Ilya on Raw is I just want to hear how Samantha Irvin puts her twist on his name.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we know it's coming. She's going to say his name in a whole different way.
But he's not Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. All right. So the chat room has been saying it all night. There's finally a video posted on X, so I'm going to go ahead and share this little 2-minute clip. Dijak is officially drafted to Raw.
And with the last draft pick of the 2024 WWE Draft, Monday Night Raw selects Dijak!
This is wearing a Bray Wyatt kit.
Well, sir, you've got your own red T-shirt. You're drinking Prime Energy. You got your sunglasses ready to go. Were you expecting this tonight? And if not, what's your reaction to hearing your name called after Monday Night Raw goes off the air?
Of course, absolutely expecting it. I mean, I know who I am. They all know who I am. First of all, shout out to Logan Paul for this amazing red Prime. This is delicious. First time I've ever tried it. It's all red all day. I got something that a lot of these people here don't have. And these are great, talented superstars here. A lot of them are very, very impressive. But what they've never been is they've never been drafted to Monday Night Raw before. I have, okay? But that's in the past. T-Bar is dead. Retribution is dead. What's alive is Dijak, okay? That's my real name, Dijak, okay? Everybody is about to feast your eyes on the Dijak hijack of Monday Night Ratio.
I love that he brought up Retribution. I love that he did that.
It didn't even waste any time. That was crazy. By the way, he got a hell of a pop That was a huge
Yeah,
pop.
I'm worried when it comes to him and Corbin.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
They
Yeah.
were floundering on the main roster for so long. Their journey down to NXT revitalized their career.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Right.
afraid that within 6 months, they're going to be sitting in catering, jobbing to Akira Tozawa.
Yeah, me too. But Dijak, that promo and the way he did it, for some reason, he reminds me of LA Knight. If they let him be himself, he can get to that level of how LA Knight is so over. If they just let Dijak be himself and didn't try to force him like they did on Raw with that whole T-bar stuff. So maybe it's a little bit different. He'll have a little more leeway in how he can act in his character. So here's for the best. Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, I think it would have done good for Corbin and Dijak to do another year down there and then maybe bring them back up next year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember if I said this on the air or if I was just telling somebody in private, but the way I would have done Corbin is I would have left him down in NXT. And then during the Rumble next year, I'd have Braun in the Rumble. Then I'd have Corbin as a surprise appearance. And then depending on how Braun has been doing on Raw is how you book the story at that point. If Braun has been thriving, Braun eliminates Corbin. But if Braun has been stutter stepping and has been suffering, you have the 2-man embrace and you have the Wolf Dogs just tear shit up in the Rumble. And that's how you bring Corbin back to the main roster.
Hell yeah.
But you give Braun that opportunity to really shine on his own on the main brand. And if he hasn't been able to do it, in case of emergency, break glass. Here comes Corbin, surprise in the Rumble. Wolf Dogs are back together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Moving on. Adam Pearce has got to be so happy. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are on SmackDown. We're one step closer, gentlemen, for booking the way I wanted booked. Because now Piper and Nia are on the same show.
Yeah.
Put them two together, I'm telling you. Give these two a tag title shot against Jade and Bianca, who are more than likely going to win on Saturday. Have them fail miserably. Have Piper get pissed at Chelsea, attack her, keeping Piper heel and turning Chelsea face, because I think people want to cheer Chelsea anyways because of how fucking entertaining she is. And then you have Nia and Piper go on this tear.
Yep.
As this AOP-like tag team for the women. Could you imagine her and Nia and Piper doing a super collider?
Ugh.
And especially when you think about how small some of these bitches are.
Oh,
Super
yeah.
collider to Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell.
Ouch. It still even works if Chelsea's their manager, just to have two big girls as the backup, because she can be an annoying bitch and then be like, if you want to get to her, guess who's the two you got to go through first? She could be like that small person who just acts like a bitch because they know they got backup. They got two bigger sisters sitting there as protection.
Yeah. But I'm glad these two are over on SmackDown. Again, it's a new division for them. I would love to see them go against Bianca and Jade.
Oh, yeah.
James, anything you want to add to these?
Honestly, I think you guys covered everything. I'm glad they moved brands because I think it's about time for a change of scenery for this group. And I do think that at the end of this all, like, we're still waiting on the Sonya Deville return because that was Chelsea's old tag partner, unless there was a breakup that I missed. But
no, it's just that Sonya got injured.
Yeah, so that could be a thing. I mean, if you bring her back into that fold, I mean, you could have her and Sonya go after, you know, Nia and Piper. And then and if you want to add, I would say add Tiffany to it, but then they wouldn't be the Karens anymore. So you know, they'd be baby faces.
The only thing with her on SmackDown is we won't get the Chelsea Green anymore.
I know. I'm gonna miss that. Well, I mean, if they have Samantha just do the pay-per-views and be the sole pay-per-view person, then we'll still get it at least once a month.
True.
All right. Over on Raw, kicking off the next round, the New Day stuck around over there. And yes, I used this picture on purpose, damn it.
For Datella?
Dude, I'm a Power Ranger fan too. Like, I was a Power Ranger fan back in 93, 94 when the shit first came out.
Me too.
I'm not even sure she was born at that point.
I really love the Green Ranger though. I was like that story, like really. But yeah, these two being on Raw, I'm kind of with it. Like at least they get to be on TV and stuff, but kind of over it. I really miss Big E, man. Like all the best. I just hope everything's okay with him and he gets to come back. Or at least if he can't wrestle, at least still do the wow, don't be there, be sorry. At least do that so to give them a renewed life because they're kind of floundering, man.
Bro.
They need something, man. Because
Although
they're
he had
never
a
gonna
great
break up.
Xavier had a freaking killer match though with Gunther on Raw tonight, so good for him, man. That was a great match.
Yes. Very solid. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see most of the matches because I was trying to put these images together. So that's why I ended up canceling my show for tomorrow because I'm not going to have time to run it back and watch another 3 hours worth of this once we get off the air.
The notes, I missed a lot of matches because I was putting the pictures together for our video too that's coming up.
Well, yeah, so my show is going to be Wednesday and it's going to be Raw, NXT, and NWA. Be a triple header, but
nice.
Yeah, the New Day, I don't know, like I feel like they could have benefited from a change of scenery, but you don't want to move too many tag teams because then it's just the same division on a different show. So that's kind of what I feel as far as the New Day goes. So
yeah, and then you didn't want this to be the one tag team you split by drafting because the rule was you splitting. It seemed like you splitting every other. I mean, you drafting every other group together, so wouldn't have made sense to do that either.
although if we're being real, I think Kofi is starting to head into the twilight of his career. You figure he's almost been in the company 20 years. And Woodsy maybe has an extra 5 on whatever Kofi has, but still, like,
yeah, I mean,
the separation for the two of them might not have been such a bad thing.
Yeah. Unless, of course, they go for one more tag title run with Big E in their corner, hyping them up as their manager. That could change the landscape if they go about that direction. I do gotta say, by the way, I love the little tribute to Tommy Oliver and the and JDF with that belt that Kofi has in that picture. By the way, good choice, good sir.
Yeah,
good choice.
Okay, staying on SmackDown. Pretty deadly. Yes, boys. Gotta get that in there for my daughter if she sees this.
Yeah, of course.
These two grew on me, man. I really thought that was going to be annoying, but they really grew on me, man.
Seriously, like, dude. I know their characters are flamboyant and wouldn't fit, but just their talent, and you figure the foreign demographic, put these two with Ilya and JD. and let that be a stable, like, dude, that would be fire. But
Imagine,
their gimmicks right there just don't make it work.
imagine bringing back Rico as their manager. Would that not like
God
fit
damn it.
perfect? Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing. Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Well, dude,
Rico,
before he left the company, I had said like a year or so ago that Dolph Ziggler should be managing these guys.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
But
true.
honestly, he might have had a better pick there with Rico being the manager. Oh shit, that's amazing. That would be tremendous. I mean, they're flamboyant enough too, where it would fucking work.
Yeah.
It would work huge. Yes, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty deadly.
They won me over. What? Once they got hurt, his shoulders hurt, and he's in a freaking wheelchair. It was over for me. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I love these two. Like after that happened,
On an unrelated note, I would if they can't get Rico, or they definitely can't get Ziggler unless you work with TNA. I would so love if they could somehow get Dalton Castle out of Ring of Honor, because he's been floundering there for years. Pairing him up with these guys,
That would be fair.
he would be great. He's a flamboyant enough character where it would work. You know, Dalton, Prince, and Kit would be great.
That would be solid. Or there you go. Matthew says, what about Tyler Breeze?
Oh yeah, Tyler Breeze, yeah. He was the original Prince Pretty of NXT, yeah.
That he doesn't have his long hair anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even think he was that flamboyant compared to these guys, man. Like, they take it to a whole other level.
Dude did pose for Playgirl magazine.
Yeah, but yes, he wore leather chaps. The only problem is that Sean was. There was weird. It's a weird thing with it because he was so much more of a badass than full on flamboyant. I don't know how to explain it, but he had a level of flamboyance to him, but he was too over. He was too over with himself.
Plus, he was
always too serious for my own good.
He was always paired with a female kick manager, so you just knew. Yeah.
The only thing that makes everybody question his sexuality is, how Vince McMahon always Googled him. But, the less said about that in current day and age, the better.
Yes, indeed. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing, JJ.
Our next NXT call-up joining the Raw brand, Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if one of Becky's first rivalries isn't running the back with her for the Raw Women's Championship, they've already messed up.
Women's World Championship. Let's not go back to brand exclusive titles.
I always forget how they label it now, so that's why I just make it easier and call it the Raw Women's and the SmackDown Women's. I do the same when it comes to the tag titles too.
It would make it easier if they called it the World and Universal. Just saying.
No, I'm kind of glad they got rid of that word.
I feel like everybody says that they should have killed it off because it was a Vince trope, but everybody forgets that it wasn't really a Vince trope and it was a World Wrestling Council thing. Like, a lot of people forget that the whole term Universal came from WWC, and their world title was the Universal title. So, history for you there. I feel like I'm educated. Why am I educating the fucking Puerto Rican like he doesn't know? What am I doing? Actually, I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
It's okay. But getting back there, like, I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, you're right. If you don't run it back with Becky on the main stage, then
it was a killer match.
Somebody screwed up.
It was a killer rivalry. I mean, there was only one match, but just the whole feud leading up to it was stellar. And I feel like, Lyra's got that justification. Like, hey, I defeated you for the NXT Women's Championship. I can beat you for this championship.
It would never happen.
And obviously she would lose, but still, Becky would get her win back. But I think it would be a great rivalry.
Yeah.
Build up to whatever they're going to do in June, or maybe just wait till Money in the Bank in July, but then you take her out of the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'll never happen, but imagine she won Money in the Bank and cashes in on Becky, like bitch beat you twice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. It also, and I feel like we forget this, but do we, after Backlash, set brand exclusive pay-per-views again? Keep in mind,
No, please God, no.
I don't think they should, but it could happen. They actually have the roster depth this time to do it, by the way, compared to when they did it in 2002. But I asked that because we don't know if they're going to do the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring on one brand and the Money in the Banks Money in the Banks for the other brand, as a way to kind of determine the contenders for that long term. So
that's fair, and I get where you're coming from, but I say no.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's better to just have it multi-branded. Like I said, have one bracket Raw King of the Ring, one bracket SmackDown King of the Ring, and then the two finalists from each bracket face off for the finals. Same thing for Queen of the Ring. Have a Raw and a SmackDown, and you get the interpromotional match at the pay-per-view to see who's the King and Queen of the Ring.
You could do that, but here's another.
And then with Money in the Bank, you just do qualifying matches on both brands to get your field of 8 or 6 or whatever it is.
That's a good point. And here's another idea that just occurred to me. Maybe they don't necessarily have to do brand exclusive pay-per-views, but they could do brand exclusive match types year after year. And maybe they could do here's a good example, right? And this is just my brain kind of running overtime, but SmackDown has the Queen of the Ring only, and then Raw has the King of the Ring, and then you invert it for Money in the Bank. Just an idea. Don't listen to me. I'm just
but the Money in the Bank briefcase can be cashed in on any world champion, either brand.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why you do, and have 3 from each brand or 4 from each brand in the match.
That's fair. That's fair. Again, I just don't know how much they're going to change. That's my only concern with that.
We have to wait.
I just don't want them to go to brand exclusive ones, because when they did brand exclusive, we went from 12 pay-per-views a year to 16 pay-per-views a year.
Yeah, true.
And that doesn't even count in the stuff that NXT does. And it's just no, that's too much. We already have freaking Insanity booked for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We don't need them adding more pay-per-views, dude. No, James, that's a bad James.
I just said. I'm not saying pay-per-views, but they could do that's why I recommended the brand exclusive matches or something. Per pay-per-view.
That's a possible where Raw gets the exclusivity to Hell in a Cell and SmackDown gets War Games.
Yeah. Well, that would be an interesting one. I would love to
see both of them are cage matches at the end of the day, but
call it War Games from Hell. Just combine the two cages.
No.
To a double ring.
No, because that's gonna give people bad memories of the kennel from hell.
Ew, the kennel from hell.
Yeah, that was not one of the Attitude's brightest spots. But listen,
on paper, it looked good. In execution, it was god awful.
Well, then you can call it War Games Ultra. There you go.
In execution, it was dog shit.
Yeah. Literally.
In execution, it was as good as the hatching of the gobbledygooker.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If the WWE should do that though, where they have the enclosed Hell in a Cell style cage for War Games, because that's how War Games used to be. But it doesn't me. I like that more. Yeah.
I'm just happy for Valkyria though, to see her and her face, man. You can see it. She was she's trying to hold back tears and everything, man. Even Sean.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, moving on and moving to SmackDown. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae.
Not surprised with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll definitely be contenders for the tag team titles here in the not so distant future. Will they win them? Probably not.
Yeah, which will eventually lead to the breakup of Candice and Indy.
I feel like this was just done for the whole husband-wife thing that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Unite DIY. Stop trying to make one heel over the other. Just unite DIY. I don't understand why they don't. You know.
All right, give me a second because I'm finally seeing other draft picks on social media. So I'm
Yeah, I was just about to tell you that. Yeah.
Save those so that I can bring those up once we get to that point. If we could please in the chat room keep from mentioning it until we actually bring it up on the screen, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yep.
And it does say those are the final picks. So
wait,
all
really?
Right. Yeah, that's what it says. On Twitter, here are the final picks. Yeah, behold the final picks of the 2024 draft.
Wait, so yeah, but there's only one I'm seeing.
I see 4.
They updated it on Twitter, but still not on WWE.com.
Dude, Jesus criminy.
And I still see people that haven't been drafted.
Yeah, dude. Oh, Nuki, here we go. So, let's
see if I can find really quickly what the pool was supposed to be for tonight. So I can kind of look at who didn't get drafted, and we can talk about that when we get there. I'll do another refresh before we get to doing that part, just in case there's more.
I feel like there is going to be more. Yeah, another one just came in. Yep, so we have 8 more. Although it's really odd because they
okay.
It's out of order, I think. But yeah.
No, it's okay. Okay, I see it just finally come in.
Yeah, I feel like it's not necessarily a WWE thing and more of an X thing, because they're just loading as slow as molasses over on X, because that should have been there like ages ago.
It's okay as long as we've got it. That's all that matters.
Yes, sir.
And I think that just about covers everybody now that I've seen those people pop in. Okay. So. The last round of televised draft picks featured the Final Testament coming to Raw. And I feel like this is going to be good for the whole faction warfare vibe we've got, because now we can have the Final Testament versus the Judgment Day. We can have the Final Testament continuing things with the LWO. We get the Final Testament away from the Pride, who are just embarrassing them. If we expand Imperium and bring Ilya in, then we can have the Final Testament versus Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
It almost kind of harkens back to those old school days on Raw, where you had like the Disciples of the Apocalypse, Los Boricuas, Degeneration X, the Nation of Domination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole gang warfare stuff, as they called it.
Damn, Scarlett looks good.
Always.
Easy there, Seabiscuit. Easy.
She's lovely.
Yeah, but this does wonders for them. Hopefully they can get a reset and get the SmackDown the smell of crap off of them, because man, Pride was just, like you said, embarrassing them. So get away from it as much as you can.
Yeah, it was a smart move. By the way, I just one more pick did just come in. I just sent it to you, JJ. Just figured I'd let you know. But yeah,
No.
It was very, very good. Overall, I think for Final Testament to kind of have fresh face.
Yes.
Especially if we're gonna get Wyatt 6, because that could be a fresh feud for the Final Testament to really indulge, and or Final Testament could join up with the Wyatt 6. I don't know. Or we're saying it might be the Wyatt 6. We don't know if they're going to continue with the Wyatt 6 angle, or if they're going to do a weird thing where they just have, a bunch of people in the same stable causing havoc in the honor of Bray. We don't know.
I know Chad Gable would wish that he had these people in Alpha Academy instead of who he has now.
Right.
Well, I mean, are you sure about that? Because they are on a losing streak, brother.
Yeah, but imagine if you think of it in terms of kayfabe, like he can mold these people into greater Chad Gable and them. That would be crazy.
Well, yeah, but the only issue is like he's gonna try to boss around the authors of Pain and Carrying Cross. You sure about that one? I don't know about that, Chief.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some pretty fresh challenges for Damian Priest for sure. I mean, Karrion and Damian would be great, and you could have a little bit of a mini feud between the Judgment Day and Final Testament. Maybe have the Judgment Day get over their issues somehow because of Rhea coming back, and then turn them babyface as a result.
And AOP being the ones to beat Awesome Truth, they can afford that heat. They can take it because the crowd's going to be pissed off when they lose the title. But that's actually believable that it's AOP beating them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's for sure.
Moving on from them, going to SmackDown, keeping the family together, DIY.
Jesus Christ, they really are. They really are just Triple H and Shawn Michaels, huh?
They're Regeneration X.
Can we please change their name from DIY to Regeneration X, please?
They should get some kind of remix to the din. They should make some kind of new song with that.
I guarantee you, if they fucking did, it would be more over than their current theme they have. I don't know what the fuck I was hearing. I was expecting instead I heard some generic freaking Def Rebel shit, and I hated it. I always hated it.
Dude, if you go back and watch WrestleMania, they actually had a full-on DX entrance. That's what the screen cap is from.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Just go with it. Like, make it your gimmick. I mean, we know that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are DX guys anyway. Like, Shawn Michaels and Triple H have always loved these guys, so just freaking lean into it, bruh.
Yeah, and when you factor in The Miz and R-Truth, that's where the whole Regeneration X comes in, because they're like the New Age Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
With Triple H and Shawn Michaels here.
Wait, but they can't get the only issue is,
and when you figure R-Truth was part of DX 2000 as King Quick.
Yeah, oh my god.
Even with the Road Dogg.
Fucking taking the whole stick too. That would be crazy. I love that actually. They should team together, the three of them. Get all the gold. All the tag team gold.
Dude, have Road Dogg come out of retirement, team with the Awesome Truth and The Miz, and be a new 3 Live crew.
Oh, Jesus.
Miz taking Kodad's place.
Yeah, by the way, The Miz needs to stop rapping. under any circumstances. That dude is whiter than fucking Sheamus.
He is so off the beat, and there is no beat.
He had no flow when he said he had one job and to say awesome truth and make it flow great. That dude said awesome truth. Nah, motherfucker, you go awesome truth to the fucking beat. That's all you had, and you went awesome truth.
Yeah.
It's not a chant. You're riding the beat.
But getting back to these two, yeah. You know they're gonna fight A-Town Down Under. They're not gonna win, but these two, you can see that match.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good match.
Sure as hell will be. I'm looking forward to that match for sure. A lot of history between Waller, Gargano, and Theory and Gargano too. So
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, you know the history if you watch NXT.
Okay. So moving on from DIY, staying on Raw, Big Bronson Reed. Honestly, I like him staying on Raw. I think he'd get lost on SmackDown, and now that Strowman is back, like I want to see him and Strowman like big time.
Yeah, for sure. Same.
Wasn't
big
Strowman,
meaty men slapping meat?
Wasn't Strowman called Big Braun Strowman at one point?
It was.
They'll let Vince Russo book this. They'll be booking over the name Big.
I am sad that Jeff Cobb is gonna stay in New Japan and not leave to go to the WWE, because man, could you have imagined if he went to SmackDown where the Bloodline are and came up? Like I would love it if, like, you know, they brought Jacob Fatu in and then Bronson comes in with them and he goes back to like his old name is John Rock, just to add to the like Samoan type deal. And then they bring Jacob and then they bring in Jeff Cobb, and you have Jacob Fatu carve his hand and blood brother the two, and then you have the Samoan SWAT trio. I mean, dude, come on. Oh, that's money, man. That's the only thing that makes me sad about it. But if they can't get Jeff Cobb, then his rightful place is on Raw. I'm very sad. Because I want him in the Bloodline. I think he looks like he should be in the Bloodline. God damn it.
It's like him and Joe are the only two Samoans not related to the Anoa'is.
Yeah, true. Yeah, well, Jeff Cobb also. Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
Well, he's weird breed. He's got some Samoan and Greek heritage to him.
Yeah,
so,
but good for Big Bronson. Yeah. Damn it. JJ just made me want to see that now, Braun and Big Bronson. That's going to be a hell of a match. Because it's like, can he get him up for that power slam? Shit.
I mean, those two would just have a big house fight all day long, because everybody forgets that Braun Strowman is also athletic as hell too, and he can do a top rope splash just as much as fucking Reed can. A lot of people forget that.
They'll probably do that break in the ring thing that they always do when two big ass people fight.
Yeah, true.
That's true. The final draft pick for the televised portion. Blair Davenport coming up from NXT.
Didn't you call this? Didn't you guess this one?
I did. You know, me and Noah were talking on spring break last week, and we were talking about Blair Davenport's role, and he was kind of disappointed that Blair Davenport always seems to be jobbing in NXT.
Yep.
And I was like, think about it this way. She's basically the new generation version of Maiko Satomura. She is the measuring stick that goes up against these bitches to see if they're ready to go up to the main roster. She was never going to win a title, but she stays prominently featured in the storylines. She's like the final boss for these girls before they start getting that push to the world title. And I was like, and it's the type of thing that she could very easily get rewarded with being drafted for. And here we are, the last televised draft pick, and she comes to SmackDown. I would like to have seen her go to Raw, where she could maybe align up with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to maybe take on Damage Control. But I'm just happy that we're gonna get to see her on Friday night.
Agreed.
And I'm glad she was drafted on TV. So for those people that don't know her, they can be like, "Oh, who's she?" Because they saw her get drafted and start looking up her old matches, and she could develop a new fan base.
You want, if y'all want a match to look up from her running the Indies, highly suggest you go back in the What Culture Pro Wrestling archives. Watch B. Priestley versus Tegan Knox. That's Blair Davenport's old name, B. Priestley. She was Nixon Newell, Tegan Knox was. They had a killer no disqualification match. And she was so good in that match. And I believe that ended with Blair not getting the win, losing to Tegan Knox to become the first ever WCP W World Champion for the women. So a little history lesson for you. Definitely go out of your way to check that one out, because that's how I discovered Blair Davenport when she first arrived on the scene for a lot of viewing eyes. So yeah, I'm happy for her, man.
I'm definitely viewing with that picture.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. We know how amazing she is. Hey, I'm just saying, man. Ospreay knows how to pick him, man. I'm just saying.
We just think NXT in general has some beautiful women down there, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The former Mrs. Bruv here, so that will be fun to see her.
See, what I loved about the NXT portion of the draft is that nobody was in gimmick.
Yeah.
Like when people were getting drafted, everybody was genuinely happy for them for getting called up.
Yeah.
You know, last year there was like gimmick involved because Vince's hand was still in the cookie jar. But like you could see the genuine joy, baby faces sitting next to heels, and just the happy nature for some of these people going up, and the genuine emotion on the draftees' face, like we talked about earlier, especially with Lyra and Blair. You know, Ilya was happy too, but both Lyra and Blair looked like they were going to start crying.
Yeah, Blair kept going like this. Yeah.
And it's like that's totally not her gimmick.
Yeah, totally not.
So to get the B. Priestley behind Blair Davenport, you know, those are the moments that I always love to see come through.
The NXT's room felt like the actual like NFL draft when you see everybody in the room and everybody goes crazy. That's what the NXT's room felt like. Yeah.
See, and I don't usually follow football, but because I produced Stat Boys Night 1 draft coverage, like I watched all that. So yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful comparison. Yeah, and Matthew points out Kiana as well. She cut a good babyface promo.
Yeah.
You know, and she's this big time heel. I have never once seen her as a babyface. Even when she was teaming with Fallon and they were tag champs, she was a tweener, walking that tweener line. Because you knew the shoe was going to drop and she was going to turn back heel.
Yep.
But that was a straight up babyface promo. That was the woman behind Kiana James.
Yeah. Man, it's just, I loved how, and I said it on SmackDown, but they definitely did a better job on this coverage of the draft. I love how legit it felt, how real it felt. Like you could see the genuine emotion, and they still had some people in character to progress storylines and everything, and they built a great foundation. Could you imagine if they expand this not only to just their NXT people, but they allow indie companies to put their names in the hat for people to be drafted for 1 year, or, you know, Pro Wrestling Noah to get involved and put their hat in the ring to have some of their talent get drafted, like,
or TNA.
Yeah, I said TNA or you can even include House of Glory. Like they have some great names in the New York area. Like the possibilities of what this could do for the industry if you know, because that's kind of what NFL. That's kind of what the NFL is doing now, because now they don't just have the pool of the college football league to draft from. They work with the Rock's football league now.
Mm-hmm.
The UFL, I believe it's called. Yeah. So like this is huge. This could be a huge stepping stone in the right direction for the E. And you know, we're only just beginning, folks. That's what's scary. Like these rosters already are stacked. Can you imagine what the rosters are going to be looking like 2 to 3 years down the line? You know,
That's damn. Now you got me thinking, James.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying Tony better get his fucking hand out of his ass before he shoots himself in the foot or give control to somebody else. Because there's no reason with the talent he has on that roster why he shouldn't be involved in this.
That's
seriously like just embrace that WWE's the number one and work with each other. You know what I mean? Fuck.
Put your egos to the side, man. That's all they got to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, I will say it's a two-way street if they do that too. But you know, Tony's got to shut up first.
yeah.
But you know.
All right, so let's get to the supplemental now and do the stuff that just finally got released to social media.
Yeah, I'm ready for this because some of these are shockers. Yeah.
Staying on Raw are the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile.
Yep.
I don't think that's a huge surprise considering where the Alpha Academy angle is going.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that these guys are going to be the new Alpha Academy with Chad Gable.
Hell yeah. And give me, oh my God, give me the Creed brothers versus AOP on Raw.
Yeah.
Give it to me, man.
Hey, by the way,
don't get me wrong. I like these guys. I've always liked these guys. But there's something about Julius, and especially in that render, that just screams heel to me.
Yeah.
Brutus still has that cheerful smile, that happy-go-lucky young boy look to him.
Even in that picture, Julius, the way you got
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but Julius, there's something about that render and Ivy. You know, there's a reason she's called the Pitbull.
Yeah.
You know, those two could be big-time heels.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in the Royal Rumble, you had Jordan Grace and Ivan Nile come to blows, and everybody wanted to see that match for the TNA Knockouts title. So, yeah, I mean, truly, I feel this is the right move, especially if you're going to go in a direction like everybody's saying, where they become the new Alpha Academy, and then it's going to be Tozawa, Otis. Maybe Otis brings back his heavy machinery, compadre, and Tucker. And then they kind of have that little faction warfare. It seems like there's going to be a lot of faction warfare that's going on fucking Raw. Goddamn. But, you know.
Raw's made out of a lot of factions. Sure is.
Yeah. And then you have, you know, the only thing that makes me sad is that what are you going to do with Ivy? Because, like, Ivy's going to be lost in the shuffle. She's going to go right back to the managing role. And I feel like she's not there yet. She's still green as shit, but it's like she's starting to get somewhere. Somewhere.
I don't think she's green as shit, but I think she's good enough where she can double dip.
Yeah.
I think Ivy Nile is everything they wanted Ronda Rousey to be. With just a better attitude.
Yeah, I could see her actually leading the team of Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler to the women's tag team titles too, now that you mention it. Shit.
You know, even all the way down to the braids in her hair. Like,
yeah.
There's just something about Ivy that gives me that Ronda Rousey feel to her. And like I said, she's just got a more charming, more pleasant personality than everything that they say about Ronda.
Yeah, that's true.
She gives some legitimacy to the women's division too, because she's legit a badass.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so the next supplemental, moving to SmackDown, And there goes our storylines. Giovanni Vinci.
What the fuck? Why?
They put their trust in him. Maybe they feel like he can do this on his own. And he's gonna get that sympathy already, so maybe he'll get a U.S. title shot against Logan Paul. He ain't gonna win, but there's a match you could put together right there.
I mean, he's definitely a good singles competitor, very underrated on the ring.
He just gives me a little bit of he's almost like the Wish.com version of Stone Cold and Cesaro at the same time.
No,
he's got a mixture of. He looks like Dax Prescott a little. Stone Cold and Cesaro, like all rolled into one.
Just because he's bald doesn't mean he's every bald man in history. Okay,
goddamn. This is look.
The baldies.
Baldies. Yeah, true. No, okay. So here's my idea. Now that that's completely done, and maybe they could actually build into a match for later on down the line if they're not gonna. Maybe at WrestleMania, as opposed to doing it on Raw. Maybe have Giovanni Vinci try to bring up the D'Angelo family. He's got some Italian blood. Go, just saying.
The new FBI.
It's always a possibility.
The new FBI, true. Oh my God, if TNA joins, then their FBI can merge with the D'Angelo family. Then you really got full-blooded Italian. Jesus.
Consider the small singles run in 2.0 before joining Imperium at Clash of the Castle a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him have a feud with Mello to help get Mello established.
Yeah, him and Mello would be a hell of a fucking match, yeah.
I think it would be a good way to get Mello established as a main event player because these two have history with each other from working down in NXT 2.0.
True.
And just the fact that they know each other will help elevate both of them to where they get some good looks.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, the next supplemental draft pick coming to Raw from SmackDown. The New Catch Republic.
More warfare going on with them in the Final Testament, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
or
awesome.
them in Imperium. Because doesn't Pete Dunne and Walter have history?
Pete Dunne and Walter do have history for the NXT UK Championship. Fair point.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Truth got a lot.
And then you get Ilya Dragunov in there too.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
Maybe he could join up with the New Catch Republic. Yeah.
Damn. Also, Truth gonna have a hard time hanging onto these titles, man.
Well, let's be honest, dude. We knew Awesome Truth were gonna be transitional. We knew they weren't going to have a long run. At best, they'll hold them to SummerSlam. At
that's
best.
Exactly.
The only reason they're not losing them at Backlash is because they don't have a match scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
They probably won't lose them at King Queen of the Reign because we'll have the tournament to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know if there's going to be a June pay-per-view. We know there's Battleground for NXT, but we haven't heard of one for WWE. And then we know Money in the Bank is July.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they might lose them at Money in the Bank. And they may go ahead and roll it over to SummerSlam at that point. It just depends on how entertaining they are. But with all of this heat on Raw, maybe they'll actually just do a title change on Raw like the old days.
True. I'd be fine with it. Either way. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting that Sheamus is on Raw and Pete Dunne's going back to Raw.
And that's what Ed said is, what if Pete Dunne reunites with Sheamus?
Then you get the Imperium trio of Ilya Dragunov, Gunther, and Ludwig Kaiser taking on the New Catch Republic / Fight Night. Yeah. True.
Man, I just wish they... Can't you just really call them the Bruiser Brothers? Can you just get rid of that New Catch Republic?
I think
my issue is it sounds too much like the No Quarter Catch crew.
Yeah.
It's like you got two factions, two tag teams, whatever, with Catch in it. One in NXT, one of NXT guys on the main roster, and it's just confusing.
Yeah, but
no quarter catch crew, new catch republic, catch and release.
Catch as catch can.
It's kind of the whole idea of both groups, yeah.
But dude, we know Regal is back. Can we get Regal in here to manage these guys?
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
He's able to be back
Actually,
on TV.
that's right. They're saying in the chat room Clash at the Castle is in June. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's the June pay-per-view right there. So maybe they'll lose them at. There you go, dude. Have them lose them at Clash of the Castle to these guys.
Oh fuck, that would be amazing. The only issue though is, and this is kind of my thought process, is I could see Gunther taking a back seat and actually being a tag team guy. What if it's Gunther and Ludwig to win the tag team titles? That would get the biggest pop if you do it in Bash in Berlin.
I think people want Gunther to be world champion. I think it would be better if it was Kaiser and Dragunov.
True.
Yeah.
The German. Oh yeah, true. Especially if you consider this. If you add in the history of what Russia did to Germany, and now you see a Russian and German unite to win the tag team titles. Oh man, especially in fucking Berlin. That pop would be insane. That would be tribalistic type pop, man.
It's crazy to think about.
I feel like we're going to get a lot of hot potatoing with the Raw World Tag Team titles, I think.
But you know what? But you know what? The tag titles is the one belt that really can be hot potatoed.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially if you've got a stacked division. Like I was saying, I think on open mic night, is we don't need every title reign to be 300 plus days.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Give me a good 3-month run, or even 4-month run, WrestleMania to SummerSlam.
Hell,
That's
you
4
could
months.
do
SummerSlam to Survivor Series. That's 5 months, I think, or 3 months.
Yeah, true that.
Survivor Series to Mania. That's 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
Repeat process. That's 3 sets of champs in a year.
True.
Give me something like that. And if the feud is really good, go ahead and trade the title back and forth a couple times in the rivalry.
Yep, exactly.
Don't do every belt like that because we don't want to cheapen them. But fucking the U.S. title, if you've got a really hot feud, let the challenger win it, and then let the champ get it back the next month.
True.
And then let the challenger get it in the big blow off, and then have a decent little run with it. Let's do the damn thing.
Yep, I think it's fine as long as you don't do some kind of next night thing a la Zack Ryder from WrestleMania. You don't have to lose it the next night, but it's fine. And the tag teams, like you said, those are the titles that can afford it.
True.
All right. Next up on the supplemental draft, going to SmackDown from Raw, Tegan Nox.
Good for
You
her.
mentioned her a moment ago with Bea Priestley, Blair Davenport. They're going to be on the same show.
Potential tag team. There you go.
Potential feud as well. You said that's how you came to learn about Blair, is watching these two have matches.
Potential.
So you could have them start off as a feud because of the fact that they know each other, and they could morph into a tag team out of respect because of their history.
Yep. True that. Women's tag team division's looking really good, by the way. Gotta say.
That's the one thing we were seriously hating on them for a while, is their lack of depth in the tag division. And man, oh man, does it look like they've remedied that.
Well, considering that, consider this: they've been promoting. This is the third match announced was the women's tag team championship match: Bianca and Jade versus the Kabuki Warriors. The strongest versus the Kabuki Warriors is going to be hell. And by the way, that's my tag team name. I'm calling them the strongest. Or you could call them the stormiest or something. I don't know, something like that.
Just call them Beast, man. That's what they are.
Oh yeah. BAST, yeah, true. Bring KSI's old clothing line back. Welcome to Beast.
And
they can be managed by Mr. Beast.
Oh,
right.
Beast.
But get it back to Tegan. She's a legit challenger to Bailey too. Once she gets over the Tiffany feud and the feud she's developing with Naomi, Tegan, she's gonna be there. It's just hopefully she gets a renewed push because she wasn't doing much on Raw, so it's a good fresh start.
They need a fresh start for sure, yeah.
Most definitely. And I like much like JJ's Mac draft that we did, there's a lot of women that were drafted.
Yeah.
It's like good for them. There's a lot of women.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, sure. I'm very happy there's a lot of women drafted. It's much like JJ's draft. It was very female heavy.
Yep. Okay. And then we saw the video. There's the graphic to make it official. Dijak to Raw. We won't spend a lot of time about this one because we did talk about it when we watched the video.
I swear, if LA Knight was that size, they probably would have already made him champion.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Chris Dijak. Yeah. Sorry. I had to make the joke at least once now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
TNA. Hard Justice.
So then
Dijak and Strowman. Woo.
That could be good.
Yeah.
Dijak, he wore
and
a
Bronson
Wyatt.
Reed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You never know, man.
But the problem is, again, once you're done with that, then what?
Exactly.
Dijak and Ivar, same thing. It's like, I just hope that in 6 months' time, this doesn't end up being a mistake.
Yeah.
Same with Corbin.
I agree. But you know what? If that Wyatt family shirt that he wore wasn't a tease while he was in the NXT crowd, he might join up with that Wyatt family group that might be forming.
Yeah, so. Which one of the 6 would he be though? He's so big. The Vulture, I guess.
I mean, he doesn't have to be in a costume. The Wyatt 6 can just be, 6 individuals. Just have Uncle Howdy be the only one in the mask.
Yeah, that's true. Bo Dallas just kind of being his own thing, or as Uncle Howdy, yeah.
Because it's like, why would you put Alexa Bliss under a costume? Number one, you hide her sex appeal. Mm-hmm. And number 2, everyone already knows she's affiliated with the Wyatt family, so why would you hide her under a costume?
I mean, they're face regardless at this point. Like, they have to be babyface.
Yeah. Same with Eric Rowan and same with Braun Strowman if they go that route. They've already got history with the family, so why do you hide them under a costume?
True. Plus, I mean, you're going to have, like... What's weird, too, is when they form this faction... And this is going to be the craziest world title picture ever and just the craziest faction picture of all time. Because you're going to have the Wyatt family and the Judgment Day and the Final Testament. Which, I mean, they've only done this one other time that I can remember. They could do 3-on-3-on-3 war games. That could very well be a possibility in what they're building to. The Wyatt family, the Judgment Day, and the Final Testament. I could see them going that direction.
That's fair.
Imagine them all together, like this generation's Ministry of Darkness.
Oh my God! Call it the church. Call it the Church of Judgment. Fucking yes, please. Sign me up.
All right. I have no idea what brand this dude was on, but apparently Apollo Crews is now going to SmackDown.
Yeah,
I think he was already on there. I think this is a stay.
I think he was a free agent from the last draft, and they never did anything with him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not for sure, so that's why I said what I said. But
yeah.
okay,
didn't
so
he
Apollo
go back
Crews
to NXT
is going...
for a second?
I think that was before the draft last year.
Okay.
Okay. Real
I
quick,
see Apollo Crews doing something with the Pride.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Get this man in the Pride pronto, like immediately.
Or to Matthew's point, put him with Cedric, Ashante, Omos, and MVP maybe.
Yeah. By the way, I'm just saying, go with the name if you're doing this, because we know some of them watch Montel Worldwide. Do that. That's the name of the faction if you form them all. Because MVP is Montel Vontavious Porter, Montel Worldwide. There you go. Or you could call them the most valuable players if you want to stick with the MVP moniker.
Yeah,
Which
you
you call them that, and there's irony in there. I know why you went and tilted your head. There was irony in that whole phrase.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying go.
I mean, I was trying to come up with something else for the MVP to stand for, but still go in with that type of theme.
Yeah.
Minor valuable player.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you call them the most valuable players, the gimmick is that the fans would immediately boo them because you haven't been doing shit. And then it gets them over because they're being full of themselves. Boom.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't make heads or tails to Apollo, but I'll tell you what, he's the cockroach of WWE because he keeps surviving these damn releases.
Right?
I'm shocked.
Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny, but how does he still have a job and Cameron Grimes was released?
Exactly.
And I've seen Cameron Grimes on my TV more in the past year than I've seen Apollo Crews.
The weird thing is because I think he's a Triple H guy. It's just that Vince called him up so damn early and fucking done so much damage to the guy. So that probably is why, but you know.
Yeah, because that accent, that whole Nigerian gimmick really, really freaking hurt him.
Yeah, although it was funny. He was really good with that gimmick. That was probably, ironically, that was the most over he was going to be in Vince's era.
And especially now that NXT has a legit Nigerian and Obafemi, like, dude, run that shit as a tag team or a program. Like Apollo Crews and Obafemi?
Well, then everybody would just be like, wait, so the new Dabakato? Then they're a nice problem.
Oh, Debo Keto?
Yeah, Debo Keto.
All right. Staying on Raw, Caden Carter and Katana Chance.
Yes.
That is awesome.
So apparently their unofficial tag team name, by the way, is the Life of the Party.
I don't like that name. I'm just going to keep calling them KC Squared.
I agree. I'm just pointing it out there. KC Squared is a better name.
And now that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are over there, let me get a feud between the four of them because they have history and will make each other look fucking good.
Yes, true that. True that.
You know, Caden and Katana have already had the titles. I think Alba and Isla are due for them.
Yep.
But just like let these two run a good little program for a couple of months. Like, dude.
I'm so glad Jade and Bianca can be on both brands. That tag title can be on both brands because look at the teams that they get to fight.
Yeah, on all three brands too.
And I could see them being fighting champs going to all three brands because you know the way Bianca roll.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Bianca will be on every fucking show.
Yep.
And it's going to help Jade get the experience she needs in ring.
Exactly.
Yeah, true that.
Staying on Raw also is The Boat, Natalia.
Good, solid pick.
I don't know what she needs to drop that moniker. I'm sorry.
Well, but with all her Guinness World Records, it's like she's the best of all time.
Not like that though. I just wish she was on NXT. Like she should stay there and teaching the next generation. Kind of like that's what she should be. But
when I think of boat, I have like a negative connotation to it. You don't want to be called a boat because of the negative connotation for the obvious reasons. But then also,
but you call her the goat?
Yeah.
No, because goats usually think about a male.
Godette. I don't know.
So that's why I kind of like vote for her. She's the best of all
I like
time.
it too. Yeah, I like it too. I just
This
wish she
woman
didn't do
is
the
the
stuff.
goat.
And
The
especially,
goat.
okay, but James, also think about it this way. Uncle Brett was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. She's
was
the
just gonna
best of
say
all
that.
time.
I was just gonna say that. Yep, Uncle
Okay,
Brett.
that's fair.
I just wish she didn't do what she did to her face, man. She was already beautiful. You didn't need to do all that.
I agree. I still find her to be gorgeous,
Mhm.
but she definitely was better before all the plastic surgery.
Mhm.
I don't mind it.
But kudos to her for such a long career. You figure most women tops 5 years, and this girl's been in the company for 20 years.
Damn
Yeah,
near. Damn near. Matthew says, I hate to say this, but with the stacked tag teams on both sides, does WWE dare make a second set of tag titles? No.
No, Matthew.
At least
bad
not
Matthew.
yet. Well, no, I won't say no, Matthew, bad Matthew. I say not
Mhm.
yet. If WWE can maintain this level of division and competition on both sides, maybe introduce one after WrestleMania next year.
Right.
Mhm.
Because you've still got a huge crop of women down at NXT that are ready to come up, some of whom are more developed than the dudes down there, if we're being real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
the
you figure you
women's-
still got Roxanne, you got Cora once she gets healed, you got Fallon,
the women's
you've
division
got
is that.
Jakara and Lash. You've got
Mhm.
a bunch of women down there that are like chomping at the bits.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, as long as they don't do the standard breakup, all these teams between now and fucking WrestleMania next year, they'll be good. I fully expect Bianca and Jade to break up by Mania next year. So we've got to get to that Mania match.
Yeah, true.
I say,
But the rest of them, maybe Candice and Indy.
Yeah.
But the rest of them need to stay intact.
okay. I say if they're gonna introduce another set of tags, just leave it on NXT. Let them have a tag titles again. Don't make two main roster tags.
I don't trust Shawn Michaels with tag teams for the women after the way he's handled the women's tag division down there. He's got any teams left he was able to develop. Honestly, it was even though we hated it at the time, the best thing that NXT could do was get rid of those tag titles because it was doing Shawn Michaels no service down there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So.
All right. And that just leaves the final draft pick. And again, I don't know what show he was on because we haven't seen him for a fucking year. But Odyssey Jones is on Raw.
I have no idea what show he was on.
I swear he was on NXT, wasn't he?
I thought he got drafted last year, but I don't remember where he got drafted to.
Isn't this the dude that has the weird ass titty punches or some shit?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I know there's like a big guy down there that used to do that shit. I don't know if he's there anymore with the WWE or not. I saw him do it on like Level Up.
I'm indifferent with this
he
guy.
was on Raw, so
Okay.
I'm indifferent, and I see why it was after off TV why he got drafted, and it was the last one because I have no idea.
Yeah,
what show he was even on.
I mean, him and Bronson Reed could become a tag team, and it would look fucking natural. I mean, shit.
Bring him back to TV so I can re-familiarize myself first before I can even predict what to do with him.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, just from first glance, he looks like he could either feud with Bronson or have a tag team with Bronson. But
Raw drafted him, but he's probably going to end up on WWE Speed or whatever the hell that thing is called.
I think he should have been drafted to AEW so Taz could make jokes. Hey, it's Odyssey Jones here.
Yeah, but that fucking Oompa Loompa ain't got no right to make jokes about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, his whole gimmick is that he calls like people Jones or calls things Jones. I don't know why, but That's Taz's new thing now. To be fair.
Freaking Oompa Loompa.
Oompa Loompa Jones. I
So
love that.
that-
I'm sorry.
Where's Omos in this draft?
Right? That's a good point, actually. Oh no, I'm scared. Please don't release my Homo sapien, please. No, I like Omos. You won me over. Oh,
So that wraps up everybody that was drafted.
woohoo! A lot of draft picks. God damn.
Raw was definitely better than SmackDown, but that's not saying much, to be
No.
honest. Yeah.
No.
At least it was.
I feel like they're just waiting to get off Fox because they don't want to
Yeah.
give everything to Fox right now. That's what I think is happening.
There was a lot more people actually moving brands. I feel like I don't know. I feel like the draft means move. Like you shouldn't be drafted to the same brand and get stuck. Like I get it, the big stars, you want to make sure you keep them, but I feel like the whole point of a draft is to move. Like you go from the lower level to the NFL and the draft. You go from college to the NBA in the draft. The only problem is you can't do it with NXT because then you demolish the roster. Like you can't graduate. You can't have everybody go from NXT up because then.
Hence why you get the other indie companies involved.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do if they continue to do this year after year. That especially if they do it every year.
I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not a writer, but this ain't it.
Well, okay, so I definitely didn't think Raw was as bad as SmackDown.
No.
But like you pointed out, that's a low bar that was set.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you can't move everybody because then it's the same roster just on a different show.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to be, just do like 20 picks or 25 picks like we tried to do on the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just let it. If somebody doesn't get picked, then they stay on the show they were already on.
True.
Instead of getting supplementary drafted later.
Yeah.
And if you want to do like 10 picks on SmackDown and the other 15 on Raw to do the carryover for both shows, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think the fact that they draft everybody that's already on the roster is why it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just do like 25 picks or even do 20, do 10 per show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get drafted, you stay put. And if you do get picked, then you come to the other brand. And you can protect your champions. That's cool. And maybe you can pick like 5 other people that you want to protect. So like if we're going to do a pay-per-view like we are with Backlash, you protect your number 1 contender to the world title.
Mm-hmm.
You protect your number 1 contender to the women's title.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you protect a star tag team. That's 4 picks, and you protect whoever your number 1 contender is to the mid-card title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. I think,
and then the rest of the people are just up for grabs and let the chips fall where they may.
There you go.
I think the concept that they did here is fine with a couple things. If they're gonna do the NXT thing, they definitely need to get other indies involved, like we talked about. So that way they don't raid NXT's roster. Like say TNA gets involved for a year to be eligible for the WWE Draft, or some other indie company, gets eligible. That's the way I would go about that, because it's very it's very hard to do a draft and make it fresh every year. But if they're gonna do that, they have to include them. if they do that, then I think the way they have it is fine. And then you add in JJ's suggestions, then it's perfect. Ultimately, I think the reason why the draft suffered on SmackDown as opposed to Raw strictly is due to the fact that they don't want to give a goddamn thing to Fox. I think they're pissed off that Fox didn't renew them, and they're taking it out by making that show as lackluster as possible. Let's be honest, that's exactly what SmackDown has become lately. It's just a lackluster nothing burger until they move back to USA, probably. So
I don't know. I mean, they still have the Bloodline, which is still arguably the biggest storyline in the WWE right now.
Right.
Especially as we're building towards the Civil War. You've got the number one draft picks from both nights are 2/3 of what I called Black Excellence. Arguably going to be the new world champions come the end of Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
You've still got Logan Paul, the social media megastar, on your brand.
Yeah.
Like, there's still a whole lot going for SmackDown, despite the fact that, you know, like you say, they don't really want to give much to Fox. There's still a whole lot of positives on that end with Logan Paul, the Bloodline, and especially Bianca Belair.
Hey, all I know is that both shows are giving us a hell of a backlash that I'm actually going to tune in for. So
cool.
I'm going to be watching it. I'm not going to be commentating. I actually want to sit down and watch it. But
I think what you can do is maybe give the GMs powers to negotiate and trade throughout the year. Instead of doing one draft, don't do drafts. Do like every now and then you can discuss trades and you make that as part of TV, and then you shuffle it around, but don't make it a whole draft where everybody's eligible and everything. Just like
that's what I said. Yeah, I think they need to do
it.
If they're going to do a draft, they need to do it every 3 years, I think.
Allow up to 5 trades per year per brand.
Yeah, exactly.
That way, you know, if somebody really starts catching fire over on Raw and SmackDown wants to get him, you know, Aldis can go to Pierce and be like, hey, I'd like to trade for this person.
Exactly.
And then vice versa. Like, but once you've exhausted your 5 trades, kind of like timeouts in a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you've exhausted your trades, you can't trade anymore.
Yep. There you go. And then the NXT call-ups are just automatically after WrestleMania. The Raw and SmackDown at the WrestleMania, they can get called up.
Or they can even be part of the trade. Like, hey, somebody in NXT, like take a Carmelo Hayes. You know, and when he was on that huge ascension, or Trick Williams before he got the title, be like, man, Trick Williams is on this huge upswing. I would like to get him on my show. Well, what are you going to give me?
Exactly.
Well, I'll give you this person.
There you go. Or you have to cap it, like, you know how NBA, NFL, they have the trade deadline. There you go. Have a deadline. If you don't make these trades by this day, then the roster stays the same.
Well, and they said the roster's lock on Monday the 6th, so.
True.
It'll be interesting to see if anything happens on SmackDown.
That's true.
Yeah, it is true. Did everybody get drafted? Not everybody got drafted too, right?
Yeah, everyone got drafted.
Except for Omos. I don't know why.
He was a free agent.
So what? So we got Roman Reigns and Omos and The Rock as free agents. That's a weird
and Rhea.
And Rhea. Yeah, true. And Lesnar, if he's still with the company, as they say.
He's still on the roster page.
True.
Didn't Triple H
So
say
take
he
that
is?
for what it will.
Triple H say he is part of the roster. He's just off doing Lesnar things or something like that, right? Didn't he say that? Yeah.
They say that, but he was also taken out of the WWE 2K game with the exception of his WrestleMania match appearance. So after everything came out. So
doesn't mean that they can't have him be DLC later on down the road.
They're definitely going to, I think, now. But yeah, things are cool.
Well, for the first time tonight, we've got people watching on all the outlets we're broadcasting on. So let me just take this opportunity 2.5 hours in to say thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
We've had almost 200 viewers at one point.
Ooh, wow.
We're kind of hanging around the 195 range right now, which is huge for us. So thank you to everybody watching.
Yeah.
Going to take this opportunity to get our shills in, and then we'll get out of here because it's getting late. I know it's like 2 a.m. for y'all.
Yes.
And it's just after 11 for me now, so pushing towards midnight.
So this is what you all can expect on YouTube.com on the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media.
Oh, okay, you actually throw into a video. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be mainly on YouTube for a lot of this, and this is mainly for the Twitter contingent, but we got a lot of great content for those who are tuning in on Twitter for the very first time.
Yes.
We got so much coming up, and that was just the beginning of our shows. We got a lot more going, trust me.
Yes, because our watch-alongs we keep exclusive to YouTube. We don't usually do the watch-alongs on Twitter. So, unfortunately, some of you guys that are Twitter only right now, if you would like to see us cover any of those watch-alongs, then you're going to need to subscribe to those YouTubes at the end of that stream there.
Mm-hmm.
So, going to run through these images real quick. Coming up on Wednesday. Oh, wait. Wrong order. There we go.
There you go.
Wednesday, May 1st, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, simply predicting for WWE Backlash. That'll be exclusive on the Casa D18 Studios channel and the Simple Man's Brand YouTube channel. Likewise, come Thursday, 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern, immediately following Impact, pretty much, we're going to be predicting TNA Under Siege. Again, those will be exclusively on the Simple Man's Brand and the Casa D18 Studios channel. If you would like to see our thoughts on those upcoming shows, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, etc.
Yep.
That, of course, brings us to TNA Under Siege Watch Along, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. That'll be broadcast across the entirety of the Multiverse of Media. Same with WWE Backlash, Saturday, May the 4th, 9 a.m. Pacific, God help us, noon Eastern. Immediately following the show, Jeff will be tagging in for Aaron Rift over a No DQ, and he will be doing the Backlash recap immediately following the watch-along stream. Pretty much after that, we don't have a graphic ready yet. But after that, Walter, Noah, and I are going to be giving our thoughts as to who will be the next champions for TNA, AEW, and WWE. We're going to go through the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, X Division Championship, Knockouts Championship for TNA, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, TNT title, TBS title, and Women's Championship for AEW, and then the WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, NXT Championship, and then the NXT Women's, Raw Women's, SmackDown Women's titles for WWE. 13 titles we're going to be discussing. hopefully get that all done in time for 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, when we present a Dad's Not Always on Wrestling retro double feature. First, Jeff and I ranking the Star Wars saga, and then Jeff and I discussing our top 10 characters from the Star Wars saga. All, of course, leading into Star Wars trivia in the style of Jeopardy for the first hour of open mic night. The questions have been written. They have been submitted to Noah. He is in the process of generating the game board.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, once that's over, we will get to traditional open mic night festivities.
Shenanigans.
And then maybe we'll get a little bit of a break for a week or so.
Don't jinx us. Don't jinx us like that.
Well, I mean, I know we have Resurgence for New Japan coming up the following weekend, but other than that, like, I don't think we have anything major.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
we're doing our TNA pay-per-view. We won't have anything major until the end of the month, Memorial Day weekend, when we get King, Queen of the Reign and Double or Nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Once we get past Resurgence, we'll get like a little bit of a lull there.
Yeah,
we
right.
can catch our breath.
Sure that, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Cleaver, in the chat. Thanks for joining us, even though we're starting to wrap things up. Yes, James.
Do you mind if I plug my stuff, or do you already have that loaded? That was my only question I had for you.
I might have it loaded. Let me see here. I've got this.
Awesome. So
And I've got the 2 graphics for your uncle's trailers.
Awesome. Okay, so real quick, before you show that graphic, let's see the 3 of us so I can point to my username so I can do my shtick. You can find me on the socials at YouTube and Twitter at JHebert95 and on Facebook at JMN Hebert. I do really cool and dumb things on the internets. It's a stick now. It's a stick now. I gotta do it every time.
You gotta stick to it.
I gotta stick to it. Stick to the stick, as an old no DQ / Multiverse of Media person once said. You guys can check out the recent edition and recent drop of the J Hebert side of things on the J Hebert side of things. J Hebert side 95 is where you can check that out. We talk about Swerve being overlooked already as the AEW World's Champion, plus the TikTok app stuff going on with TikTok versus the US again. WWE 2K24 and their community creations ban, which has now been lifted. We're going to be updating you on the next J Hebert side of things coming up, but this was a week before everything got resolved. And obviously, we're going to be talking about the crazy ass knockout that happened at UFC 300 for the BMF title. I mean, if you guys have not seen this yet, you got to go out of your way to check this out. This was one of the craziest knockouts in MMA history.
You got to clip my watch along and just see my reaction on it.
I did promote your watch along in the video. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that at JHebertSide95 is where you can check it out right now. 1 in a Million documentary trailer is up right now. The first trailer is one of the best. It runs every time on open mic night or any watch along that we do. So thank you very much, by the way, for that, JJ and Jeff, for giving us the platform to promote our stuff to a broader audience as well. It's hugely helpful and greatly appreciated. Go check that out right now. Scan the QR code. Scan the QR code to see the Gary Hebert hockey trailer. There's also a second one that we cannot air for copyright reasons, and that is the greatest speech you will hear in sports. He gives this to the number 1 team in the state of New Hampshire, the number 1 high school team in the state of New Hampshire. And Matty Laws says he has heard a lot of locker room speeches, none compared to what he heard. And this is coming from a guy that does not know me really from a hole in the wall. So that's a huge endorsement. And this guy's a sports head. So go check this out if you haven't already. And be on the lookout. Hopefully by mid-May, we're going to be having that documentary released. The final draft is going to be ready, or at least a rough draft of the final edit is going to be ready by May 6th. I just don't know if it's going to be released on May 6th. But we're looking to have a very, very good, very good documentary with this. It's coming along beautifully.
Nice. Walter?
Awesome. Yeah, on the socials for me, you can catch me at Walter Alex Cruz. Cowfire Farms is the Instagram if you're into that kind of business of the RVD variety, so that you can get the drift. And then at the YouTube, yeah, we got more content at Rage of Wrestling. We got what JJ just said. We're working on the graphic of that, but we also have the most impactful TNA debuts coming up. We just gotta work on when we're gonna do that and create the graphic for that. But yeah, that's where you can catch us. So we got stuff coming on all parts of the platform of Jeff Meacham Network. So be on the lookout for everyone.
Yep.
There you go.
And then once again, for everybody that's watching on Twitter, if you want to keep up with our watch-alongs, those are all the brands that we usually stream them on. So make sure you subscribe to all those channels. Jeff Meacham Network, Casa D18 Studios, N Foster 1916, J Hebert Side 95, Rangers of Wrestling, Greg Cherry Brand, NoDQ.com, and Rage of Wrestling. As Walter just said, this is just an old graphic, doesn't have his logo on there. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to all our channels if you would like to watch our watch-along coverage this weekend. Gentlemen, that's going to just about wrap things up. Thank you guys for coming on and helping me discuss these draft picks. Thank you to the 190 plus of y'all that are still watching. We greatly appreciate it. And until our watch-along coverage tomorrow of NXT Spring Breaking for the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, have a good evening.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.